Ferrari has made the first major change in response to its hugely disappointing start to the 2020 Formula 1 season by restructuring its technical department. Rapid changes in times of struggle are nothing new at Maranello, but unlike the old days of a sacrificial sacking or two, this time the reaction is to create the so-called Performance Development Department. We'll give you a few seconds to make your jokes about why Ferrari didn't have a team dedicated to improving its performance already, and while you're doing so, why not give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. But now we've got our straight faces on, let's take a look at what Ferrari's changing, how it's going to work, and what difference it might actually make. After 3 races, Ferrari has scored just 1 podium finish and is 5th in the Constructors' Championship after developing a car slower than its rivals and suffering a significant engine performance drop. We've delved into the controversial reasons behind this decline in engine performance in another video, so check that out after this one, which is going to focus on the shortcomings of Ferrari's car. The 2020 Ferrari was designed to have more downforce than last year's car, but that appears to have come with a bad trade-off in drag, and the car's not exactly stunning in the corners either. Fast-tracked upgrades didn't rectify the situation, and it's clear that Ferrari's car is anywhere between 3rd and 6th best at the moment, depending on the track. When Ferrari team boss Matteo Binotto suggested that organisational changes would be considered, this triggered speculation that Ferrari's old fateful axe would start swinging again. But Binotto rounded on that in a column on Ferrari's website, calling it amusing and saying it's not by sacking people that you make a car go faster, although that didn't stop Ferrari trying that strategy in the past. Binotto's words have been swiftly followed by the act of rejigging the technical structure, which Ferrari says creates a more focused and simplified chain of command. The new Performance Development Department will be headed up by Aerodynamics Chief Enrico Cardile and include input from the likes of famed Ferrari designer Rory Byrne and another leading aero man in David Sanchez. Enrico Galtieri remains in charge of its engine development, with Simone Resta, who returned to Ferrari last year after a brief spell with Sauber and Alfa Romeo, still leading chassis engineering. Binotto says this will speed up the design and development process and supports the people currently at the team. He called it the cornerstone of the car's development, so no pressure. Ferrari still remains without a designated technical director or chief technical officer, but this does bolster the technical structure beneath Binotto. It may just sound like a rearranging of the deck chairs in light of the current performance crisis, but actually seeks to address what Ferrari sees in hindsight as part of the reason for its decline over the past couple of seasons. After developing fundamentally strong cars in 2017 and 2018, which could and probably should have won the title respectively, Ferrari's 2019 car was seriously flawed. Yes, it allowed Charles Leclerc to set more poles than anyone else, but even with its big and controversial power advantage, it was only competitive on a narrow range of circuits. It was not the sweet handling and adjustable machine of its predecessors. Ferrari believes there's a significance to that timeline. In 2016, then CEO and President Sergio Marchionne instigated something of a management revolution by reverting to a system of horizontal integration in the creation and development of the car. In this system, group members all contributed with ideas, which the department heads then chose from. If the SF70 was any indication, this worked. After years of plain Jane designs, Ferrari was suddenly the most creative team out there, with exactly the same personnel as before. But now, Binotto feels the system has run its course. Not only has the new energy it brought subsided, but the system has proved somewhat unwieldy in a time of difficulty. To address the various shortfalls of the organisation, it's been decided the time has come to resort to a more formal vertical integration with clearly defined responsibility for the department heads. So, the new Performance Development Department has overall charge of all the other technical departments. Aero, chassis, power unit and track will all report to the same place. Specifically referencing the availability of Byrne, creator of the Michael Schumacher era multiple title winners, was an interesting point in Ferrari's announcement. The South African has been retained as a consultant since going into semi-retirement at the end of 2008, but his involvement has lessened since 2017, and this seems to mark him stepping up once more, or maybe it's just Ferrari trying to curry favour with a famous name that's quite good for PR. The effects of this change will only become clear in hindsight, but the fact it's been actioned without the team's usual bloodletting in a time of crisis is a promising sign. But what Ferrari will be able to do in the short term to improve its fortunes is unclear. Its aerodynamic package has been underwhelming despite that fast-track set of updates, so a refined or an accelerated development plan may not be enough to make a difference, at least not immediately. First, Ferrari needs to identify the problem that has prompted the miscorrelation between whatever it was seeing in the development phase and what was realised on track, because it was clear after the Hungarian Grand Prix that Ferrari did not yet fully understand what had gone wrong. So this is not going to be a rapid solution, and there are no silver bullets in Formula 1, especially if the new department discovers an underlying chassis weakness as well as a problem in its aerodynamic development. This year's mechanical components are being mostly carried over to next year with very little development allowed. So while a better aero direction is possible and would have benefits this season and next, key major architectural changes are out of the question for 2021. Ferrari must also wait until next year to improve its engine performance, as in-season upgrades are not allowed for cost-saving reasons and less for reliability. That means the true value in Ferrari's structural change may not be known until 2022, when major new technical rules come into force and Ferrari's next properly new car hits the track. Waiting that long will be a big test of Ferrari's apparent newfound patience. But that's the challenge facing the new performance development department and everything you need to know about its inception. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to The Race if you haven't already, and make sure you let us know in the comments below what you think about Ferrari's start to the season and how it's reacted.